I used this palette today and I absolutely loved it. There's a tutorial after I stop yapping. Pink eyeshadow base. If you see any left over there, I actually already had at least the eye base on, but for some reason it wasn't recording. I don't know what happened here, but here we are. Let's take our C31, and that's going all the way up to our brow bone. And I always like to film the eye really close up like this. That was a visual that I needed when I was starting out my makeup journey. I feel like everything was so far away. I'm like, let me get in there. I gotta investigate this situation. And then we're gonna stop it about right there, only because we're gonna grab our red blush. You know what? Let's lay down a really even base of concealer first. That way we don't have to come back in with concealer and put that on top of the blush. So this way we'll have our complexion ready already. There we go. Nice and blurred. I love the 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗬 concealer, by the way. If you want full coverage, that one's my favorite for the really full coverage looks. All right, now we're gonna grab. I'm gonna use a liquid. That way it kind of has the same textures as everything on my face currently. Powder might set, so we're gonna go in with this one right here. Very excited. Oh, it's such a pretty shade. Grab that on a C41. And I'm grabbing it more towards the front of the brush. And we're just gonna start to press this on, just towards the outer part here. I am the holidays. And now you know why we put our concealer on first. I picked up more, by the way. I'm just gonna keep layering it up. And then we're still gonna put green in here. Oh, I love makeup. It's just my little art project. Now notice that I didn't put concealer here or here. What I like to do is anytime, this can make it to where you're not enjoying a drape as much, is that we don't normally like to see red through here on ourselves. So that's why we'll come back and clean that up. Over here, it's gonna have a really pretty glow, a pretty lift. But anytime we start to get a little bit of kind of this faded redness, that's usually what we tend to want to cover up. I think it's beautiful. I never want you to feel like it's wrong, but if you're not enjoying kind of a drape on yourself, that might be why. So you'll see me cover this up in a little while. I just wanted to kind of mention that now. I've been wanting to use this palette. I'm very excited. Now we're using a darker color, so we're grabbing it on a much smaller brush for control. I'm not gonna use this color today, but y'all know to stay tuned. Oof, I'm excited. Creasing at this stage is completely normal. It's just like unset concealer. And we're setting with the eyeshadow as we go. So I'm just gonna start to stamp this here. It's really in the center of the brush. That way it can fit into the socket a little bit easier. And we're not wanting to blend right now, we're wanting to place, and that's why I picked it up with the 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗬 instead of an 𝗕28 or an 𝗕29. And then we'll just let it feather out this way. I'm so, I know it's just eyeshadow, but it's just seeing it come together truly excites me. Now I'm just gonna keep packing it on and building it up. I want it to be more intense. And then I'm gonna soften the edges. I remember seeing a more pinky brown. Let me double check that I saw that in the palette, but for right now that looks good. I kind of want it to just creep out a little bit like so when my eye is relaxed. Yep, I thought I saw this color. Let's pick that up with a bigger brush. You'll also notice that this one is a little bit flatter, and you'll notice it's just on the side of the brush. Now what we're gonna do is I like to tilt my head back, and all I'm gonna do is press this on the top part of the green. If it gets into the green a little bit, that's fine. We can always enhance it later. But we're just kind of blending and melting it in. You hear the snoring? That's Jean Bean. If you're just seeing this tutorial here on your FYP for the first time, that's a big orange cat snoring. Now, if you've ever thought Rose, wow, she's so wasteful when it comes to the eyeshadow base and then cleaning it off, it's because I don't really know where I'm going, and I also just give myself grace to clean it up if I need to. So I'm gonna tidy up the lid a little bit. I don't don't think I'm gonna worry too much here. I'm about to do a sparkly wing, green sparkly wing. But I want to add the pink back pretty bright on my lid space, and if I was to just put the pink on top of the muddy green, it wouldn't be quite as bright. But yeah, whenever I'm doing these looks, I have no idea what I'm doing or where it's gonna end up. C30, and we're using our same pink base again. We'll carve this out a little bit. Such a pretty pink. I love how it's almost a blush color for my skin tone. I'm gonna give you another tip. So if you're ever wanting to do a little bit of a carve, but you know you're gonna use sparkles, don't be too worried about perfection, because sparkles are gonna kind of migrate to see this little bit messier area, and they're gonna blur those edges anyways. So that's always something to keep in mind. I'm gonna stop the pink right there. I'm actually just gonna take a little bit of this Hello Kitty Wet n Wild pink powder that needs smoothed out. It's very important that you see all of these steps, because just like concealer, we don't wanna set that. Now we're gonna set it with the pink powder so it stays that color. And then let's just go ahead and take that pink powder. For now, we'll set here. We're gonna add some sparkle later, but I wanna keep all of this very pink. This can be covered up later, but let's just go ahead and get this all nice and blurred and set. So I need to kind of walk you through this. Do you see this green? Even though it's very pigmented, once I go to apply it here, you're still gonna be able to see my skin through it. See how you can still see the skin? So what we're gonna do to really enhance it is you can take liquid, your eyeliner, just use whatever you have. But I'm gonna do brown so it's not quite as dark as black. Does not even have to be perfect, and I'm just kind of stamping it. Again, remember how I mentioned the sparkles, hiding any kind of flaws? That's always a good thing to think of. That's where we're headed. Now we're gonna hop in here with our E27. Notice I'm really coating the brush. Before this completely sets, I'm gonna start to stamp it on here. And we want the green to feather up this way, so it gives from dark to kind of feathered out and softened at the top. So I want it to be pretty frosty, but a little less pigmented, so that's why we're gonna use this brush. And let's just take it and frost here. I kinda wanna get my pink highlighter too. I feel like this look needs that. Grab more of it. I don't even mind if it goes into my eyebrow, that's really pretty. And then I thought I'd put some here too. And I'm applying it dry because I want it to be more of a twinkle instead of an all over intense frost, like so. Now remember earlier when I mentioned not to worry too much about the line? That's because I knew I was gonna press these little sparkles all over it. Sparkles hide things, y'all. I wanted some more definition towards the front, so I just grabbed this Stila liner in the shade Cypress. It's a pretty shade. And since it's Feral Monday, I think we need one of these Duochromes. This is Sweet Dreams Loose Pigment from Carla Cosmetics. That's gonna go just here in the center. Oh yes. I think we need even more. I'm just gonna pack it on a little bit more just through the center, just for a little pop when we blink. I love it. Lily Lashes, Self-Adhesive Lashes. This is the style Game Changer. Just let it get a little acquainted there. And then what I like to do is take the ends and kind of just wiggle them onto the skin. And the more that they heat up, the better they're gonna stick. But you just have to make sure that it's all touching skin. If it's just touching lash, it's not gonna be able to warm up and adhere. There we go. There we go. There we go. So before I pull the camera out a little bit, I kind of wanted to finish up this blend with all of you. So I'm just gonna use concealer. That doesn't mean that I'm going light coverage. Concealer generally even has more coverage a lot of the time than our foundations, but I want most of the blur to be in the center, so that's where I'm going to place it. And the reason we're still here while I'm doing complexion is because I wanted you to watch this blend out. See how it starts to melt in that way? And this denser side of the brush is going to cover up more. And then once we get the coverage where we want it, we're going to switch to the fluffier side. And I'm just going to tap these edges through here and melt all of that. And see how much more, I guess, I should say it's just a little less scary to have that pink kind of tidied up around the eye. And then the pink should just, for me, for this look I'm after, is going to be more back here. Now this pink powder, it's pretty pigmented. I actually really, really like it. So if you're able to find it, go ahead and grab it. It's from Wet n Wild. It's the Hello Kitty. I'm going to take that underneath here and I'm applying it while that concealer is still pretty wet. So it'll grab and kind of enhance a little bit more of the pink. Now obviously it's not going to be a blush. Let's blur this edge too. And then I'll take the smallest amount of whatever's still left on here. Remember, this was our complexion brush, and I'll just kind of push it in. Flawless. This is such a beautiful blush, and it is so pigmented. In fact, I'm going to tap that there before. And then, since this brush is a little bit more angled, I'm going to be able just to kind of go right through there. See how it's hitting perfectly right there? Now, I am a tapper more of a swiper sweeper. It just builds up product really quickly for me. Then I go back in and just kind of place it and move it around the face. But at first I always like to build up color, even when it comes to eyeshadow, and I find that that's what pressing does. Start to whisper it over into the over into the drape. Anytime I want a wintry look, I'm gonna put it on my nose, and I'm gonna put a lot. I just think it's very fun. Now this isn't usually something everybody loves to do, but I think it's very fun. And then I'll put a little bit there. And if you've ever wondered why anyone would ever put blush there, say we did go skiing, which I've never been skiing, but I have been outside when it's really cold. We tend to get really red. Even if the sun isn't out, this is kind of where we chafe. So that's kind of the idea. I swear there's a method to the red forehead madness. I've gone wild. I think we'll add some pops of lavender too. I feel like that kind of goes in with our look as well. Fun. Now, whenever I know I cannot have fallout, I'll take this Milk eyeshadow base because I want to do the green again. I feel like the green is going to tie this in a lot more. What I'm doing is reaching over and grabbing that green on an E27, and I'm just going to push that. Also notice though that I'm pushing and I'm holding the brush to where the shadow falls into the brush and not onto my skin. The snoring is at an all-time high in my room right now. I think it finally just died down. Oh my goodness, I love that. So I'm after an almost red lip, so we're gonna take this Maybelline lifter liner in Peaking, but we're gonna top it with a gloss. Look at how pretty. This is Queen Cosmetics gloss. The shade is called FaceTime, and I thought it would be perfect with this since it has a lot of sparkle in it, but it's still just this really pretty kind of mauvey pink. Remember the green loose pigment? That's gotta go there. All right, friends, we made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching all the way here. I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.